about the ontology, what it is, why it matters, how you actually use it to build decision-centric systems in the real world. So if we think about what is an ontology, it's the nouns and verbs that make up your business, right? So in this manufacturing example, I have plants and warehouses that I'm supplying plants from warehouses, right? I'm shipping product to customers. So this really reflects the ground truth about how your business is actually operating. There's complex interconnected relationships, right? So as we model this into the ontology, the goal is to actually model how your business is actually operating, not how these other systems need it so they can work. So if we think about that in a decision-centric system, what do I need to be able to make decisions, right? I need three things. I need the data, I need the logic, and I need the actions, right? So I need the data, the logic, the actions. The data represents what the current state of my business is, the logic about how do I think about those things, and the actions I can take to affect the real world, right? So if we can dig into that a little bit further here on the data sources, right? I'm connecting to all my different enterprise systems, whether they're homegrown, out-of-the-box software, legacy, new stuff in the web. Doesn't matter. We have 300 out-of-the-box connectors that you can actually connect to stuff, or with MMDP, you can connect to things like Snowflake and Databricks and BigQuery and virtualized data that's already sitting in those enterprise data lakes and pull it in and just use that as part of your ontology, right? So this really is about making it seamless, connecting to that data across your business. Then sources of logic, right? So these could be really simple. That could be an Excel spreadsheet, rules-based logic. It could be ML models, forecast, third-party optimizers you bought. They can be living inside of the platform, outside of the platform. We integrate with all these different tools, no matter where the model or sources of logic are. We want to integrate that and actually model that into the semantic object about how, like, for example, a warehouse works. What's the logic associated about how to think about that warehouse? Then the last is the systems of action, right? So if I get the data, I get the logic to how to think about it. Now, what actions can I take and how do I make it real? So whether it's SAP and I want to write back to SAP to create an STO to move product from A to B across my network, right? Those should be modeled in here as the actions I can take. They can be other things that are on the plant floor. They can be financial systems, you name it. We'll connect into those, whether they're legacy or they're on-prem, they're at the edge, they're in the cloud, they can be webhooks. You name it, we connect with those things to really drive back those actions into the enterprise, right? So if we bring all the data, the logic, the action together here, then I have this ontology that is very rich, showing me my actual digital twin of how my business is operating, how to think about it with the logic, and what actions I'm going to take to affect that system. So then on top of that, we can then build these workflows and analytics. Analytics really are a byproduct of the workflows that I'm building. So a workflow across many different business processes or business systems that I connect together the people, the process, and I really then start to bubble up the insights there. And then we start to add other things in here like automations, right? So now can we have generative AI models integrated through AIP and AIP logic, for example, that now are helping actually go reason about it because they have access to the ontology. The LLM now has access to context, not just the data, the context about how my business operates. So the LLM can have access to the logic about how to think about it. So the LLM can call a deterministic model. It can then drive an action to write back. So instead of people having to swivel chair from a dashboard over to another tool to figure out how to make it real, we'll orchestrate those complex actions on the back end to make it real. And that's where automations come in, bringing reasoning into this process. And the ontology really is that context of how your business is operating because the LLMs were not trained on your business's data or processes. Then last is the products and SDK. So this is where we can build data products, rich applications, whether that's in a mobile app for the plant floor, it's a custom React app to interact with my customers, or it could be through the Ontology SDK, where I actually create a custom SDK of my ontology. So an SDK of my business and business process that I can build different applications, back integrations. I can integrate that SDK that has agentic workflows into my existing applications. Lots of different really great stuff that you can do by powering different SDKs throughout your business. This really opens up the way that you integrate it and really improves the usability, which improves speed and time to value. So all of this comes together with the goal of AI and humans working together on the ontology. And the goal over time is to automate more and more of your business. So really what you need is the ontology to model the data, the logic, the actions to drive decisions in your business.